In April 2018, James Cameron, while doing an interview with Vanity Fair, committed one of the greatest crimes a filmmaker could commit today. He admitted that he wasn't a fan of superhero movies. And just like any time Cameron has been critical in the past, the response was clear. This coming from the guy who made Avatar? A once beloved filmmaker now mockingly thrown to the rocks just because of Avatar. My opinion? It's because of Titanic. You see, because of Titanic, you decided to hate Avatar. Avatar, a film that was nominated for multiple Academy Awards, ushered in the rise of 3D movies, at least for a little while, is the #2 highest grossing movie of all time, and as of writing is about to reopen in China, so it could claim the #1 spot again. What's that? It's not opening? They don't know? Put a pin in that one, we might come back. Avatar is the inspiration for an entire section of Walt Disney World, and is currently set to have not 1, not 2, but 4 sequels, 2 of which are being shot right now. It has all your James Cameron hallmarks, the tough take-no-nonsense female lead, the villain so evil, so determined, amazing cinema-changing effects, James Horner music, quotable lines of dialogue.
Kill you and eat your eyes for jujubes.
Scott Mendelsohn called it primal storytelling. Ebert, in his review for the film, said Avatar is not simply a sensational entertainment, although it is that. It's a technical breakthrough. Kenneth Turan, who had a long-standing feud with Cameron after Titanic, said, he restores a sense of wonder to the movie-going experience that has been missing for far too long. And yet, we've all seen the remarks, the jokes, the snide comments. Who's asking for these sequels? It's just Dances with Wolves / Ferngully / Pocahontas in space. Unobtainium, that's dumb! But you never see these remarks in regards to his other work. It's such a prevailing narrative. IGN did a video last year about why being an Avatar fan sucks. So what happened? What caused this? How did the man who gave us The Terminator, Aliens, True Lies, and The Abyss go from being thought of as a macho badass filmmaker to an easy internet punchline? Well, he made Titanic, and that made people mad. What do I mean by this? Titanic came out before Avatar. There's a 12-year gap between films. How could Titanic influence how people feel about Avatar? How could a sweeping romance featuring Billy Zane at the height of his powers cloud one's judgment on a space movie about big cats? It's very simple. James Cameron made a movie that was marketed to and predominantly loved by women, a romance. And as far as the most vocal Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube commenters are concerned, which is mostly a demographic of 15 to 35-year-old males, that's an unforgivable sin. Don't believe it's men beating this drum? Let's take a look at the articles. 6 Reasons Why Avatar Sucks by Peter. Avatar, Why Cameron's Flick Kinda Actually Sucks, Gregory. Meet the Marvel fans that helped Endgame, #beat Avatar, Ben. What about over on Twitter? Or click any article where Avatar is mentioned. And what about Reddit? I mean, some of those usernames could be women. Maybe Movie Circle Jerk, but I doubt it. Heck, if someone says they enjoy or like an aspect of Avatar, look at how many dudes comment. If you want to see what I mean by making things for women get you labeled, look at the Twilight movies, a property predominantly for and enjoyed by women. And despite the fact that there hasn't been a Twilight movie in 8 years, and all of the actors have gone on to do very different and often challenging work, the minute one of them gets a new gig, the world is all too eager to remind them that they were in the sparkly vampire movie, and that they will forever be tainted for the girly thing they were in. Cameron started off making sweaty, macho movies with big guns, swear words, and awesome action scenes. He made movies for everyone, but they were especially for boys and men. Alien action figures, Terminator comics, a Guns N' Roses single. We were the demographic. And then, in 1997, he makes a big, sweeping, old Hollywood romance that creates Leo Mania, Titanic-themed weddings, and gives us My Heart Will Go On. Not just a love ballad, the love ballad. Titanic, the film that dared to take down Star Wars. It became the highest-grossing movie of all time, the first movie to make $1 billion, with 14 Academy Awards on the side. It was king of the world! Gone were the toy commercials, and Stan Winston. There were no guns and/or roses, and girls kept going and going and going. It's been a hacky guy premise for ages when Titanic is brought up. My mom's sister, girlfriend saw that movie so many times. It's fine, I guess, but they wouldn't stop talking about it. Suddenly everyone is Fred Savage in A Princess Bride.
Is this a kissing book?
They don't want a movie with love and kissing. Where's the sweaty dudes with guns and their jacked muscles?
When's it get good?
To them, Jim portrayed his action roots, his male fans, and we were going to mock him for it from now on. Avatar, you were made to suffer. But is it really that different from any of his other films? Let's break it down, shall we? We're calling this James Cameron 101. Number 1, start of the movie. Main character or other characters in vulnerable, possibly dangerous position. We're dropped right into the action. The Terminator shows up naked. Aliens, Ripley is asleep. The Abyss, water alien destroys submarine. Terminator 2, Terminator naked again. True Lies, Arnold has to spy on people at a party. Titanic, Bill Paxton and crew are deep underwater. Should anything happen, they're doomed. Avatar, Jake Sully wakes up from a deep sleep in unknown, to us, massive ship. Number 2, introduction of the plot. Terminator, are you Sarah Connor? Aliens, need to go back to LV-426. The Abyss, deep core crew, go look at that sub. Terminator 2, I'm looking for John Connor. True Lies, here's the lie I have to tell my wife. Titanic, that naked picture on the news is me. Avatar, welcome to Pandora, you're part of the Avatar program. Number 3, main character's first conflict setting up overall theme. Terminator, Sarah Connor is a put-upon waitress, watch her journey to become a warrior. Aliens, Ripley is suffering from PTSD, she confronts her fears and faces them head on. The Abyss, Bud and Lindsay don't see eye to eye, their love is what saves each other and the whole planet. Terminator 2, John is in foster care, Sarah in an asylum. These two sure seem separated. They'll come together in the end, I bet. True Lies, Jamie Lee Curtis is unfulfilled with her boring life, and her, she thinks, boring husband. Jamie Lee Curtis starts a new and exciting life when she discovers who her husband truly is, and they communicate more. Titanic, Rose is living a lie. Rose discovers her true self and takes on the name Dawson. Avatar, Jake is a handicapped person on a planet where that will be a bit of a problem, and he wasn't the first choice for the mission. Jake, is the unlikely choice, ends up becoming the one who can save Pandora. Number 4, introduction of villain, secondary villain, and comedic friend who's there to lighten the tension and be told exposition. Terminator, you got the Terminator, Dr. Silberman, and then Sarah's roommate who listens to rock tunes while having sex. Aliens, the alien, Burke, Colonial Marines. The Abyss, Coffee's men, the crew of the Deep Core. T2, the T-1000, Dr. Silberman, again, the red-headed kid from Salute Your Shorts. True Lies, Salim Aziz, Bill Paxton, and Tom Arnold. Titanic, Billy Zane, David Warner, the red-headed guy who works with Bill Paxton. Avatar, Colonel Quaritch, Parker Selfridge, and Dr. Norm Spellman. From there, a lot of these play out the same way. First, you get a major action scene, usually bringing different characters together. You get a conflict with the villain, usually a love scene, or in the case of True Lies, a strip scene. After the love scene, crazy third act kicks into high gear, like legitimately right after these people have sex, usually crazy stuff starts happening. And all of Cameron's movies are about transformation and lonely people finding connections through literal or created families. Sarah goes from a waitress to a warrior, creating a family. Ripley goes from lone survivor to fighter with created family. Bud and Lindsay are nearing a divorce and hate each other to discover their love for each other once again. Loners to unit. John sees his mother as lame, his words, and his upbringing is messed up. Sarah has turned John into a mission and is no longer a mother. In the end, they save each other, not just physically, but emotionally, becoming parent and child once again. True Lies is Helen Tasker feeling lonely and unfulfilled, and Harry lying to his family. She becomes a spy, and he becomes a good father and husband. From separate to family. Titanic, Rose doesn't feel like herself. Despite people being around, she constantly feels lonely and out of place. She meets Jack, falls in love, and takes on his name. Loner, transformation to true self. Avatar, Jake Sully is the brother that isn't supposed to be there, looked at and judged, who takes on a literal transformation and becomes part of a unit. Mock, I see you all you want. Cameron has always had that message. Avatar is beat for beat, motion for motion, just like all the other James Cameron movies you love and quote. Let's just get in front of this. I'm not saying if you're a man who hates Avatar, you're someone holding some weird inherent rage towards another movie you felt you were dragged to by some female person in your life that had kissing in it. And this also isn't saying only men dislike Avatar or have issues with Avatar. But is it as bad as people say? Does it deserve the constant nitpicking and ridicule to be dismantled as some flash in the pan and undeserving of sequels? I don't think so. Let's take a look at the common criticisms of Avatar and explore how much they actually hold up. 1. Avatar leans hard into white savior tropes. This has become more of a criticism of the film in recent years than it was when it was released, as discussion around art and society evolve and grow. That's a good thing. Art doesn't just live in a time it's made, and hopefully the Avatar sequels evolve and grow past this story trope. Number 2, there's not an iconic character. While Zoe Saldana as Neytiri is great, Avatar doesn't have an Ellen Ripley or Sarah Connor. So while, quote-unquote, this movie doesn't give us another great sci-fi character of all time is true, man, that's a heck of a goalpost to hit. Number 3, its characters are cliche. Have you watched Aliens recently? The Colonial Marines are awesome, but deeply layered they're not. Terminator 2, True Lies, The Abyss, all pretty well-drawn character tropes. This is not to criticize the other films. I love how big and bombastic they are, even in Avatar. Number 4, lack of rewatchability. This one's a prickly one. How much a movie is or isn't rewatchable is determined on the person. To me, Eraserhead is super rewatchable, but I know I'm in the minority there. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Avatar is awful from someone who then says, truth be told, I haven't seen it since the theaters. Maybe give it a second shot on streaming? It's been a decade. Number 5, its message is heavy-handed. I don't know if you've seen a James Cameron movie. His messages are about as subtle as a T-1000 stabbing you in the face while you're drinking milk. In all of his films, character dialogue is mostly about goals, mission, purpose, and the theme of the movie.
There's no fate but what we make for ourselves.
You know, Burke, I don't know which species is worse. You don't see them fucking each other over for a goddamn percentage.
Well, we all see what we want to see. Coffee looks and he sees Russians. He sees hate and fear. You have to look with better eyes than that.
The man in his films aren't subtle, and that's why we love him. A subtle man isn't giving you,
I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do.
all of his movies are written this way. All quotable, all iconic.
I'll be back.
Until, apparently, you get to Avatar. Unobtainium. We're going to talk about unobtainium. You know, James Cameron didn't create the word or idea of unobtainium, right? It was a term actually created in the 1950s by aerospace engineers when referring to unusual and costly materials. Aerospace engineers. What a bunch of unoriginal idiots! Additionally, in the film, the substance is named by a corporation.
Out here, they're just hired guns, taking the money, working for the company.
Corporations, you know, those places known for their vast creativity. They see this element as another asset on a spreadsheet, not for the special thing that it is. That's the point.
Look at all that cheddar.
Remember, the man's themes aren't subtle. It's Dances with Wolves in space. I don't get this one at all. Or at least I don't get it as a valid criticism. I often see this as the reason people point to for not liking the movie. Like, oh, sure, the effects are great, and they don't mind the characters, and they like James Cameron's other movies. But they can't get into this one, because it's just Dances with Wolves in space, which I don't disagree with, but I don't understand that as a negative. Blank in space is what a lot of science fiction fantasy stories are. Star Wars: A New Hope is King Arthur in space. A young farm boy wishing for adventure meets an old wizard who gives him a magic sword, and he has to go off to save a princess and fight a dark wizard. King Arthur in space. The Martian is Robinson Crusoe or Castaway in space. Event Horizon is Hellraiser in space, ignoring Hellraiser 4, which was already Hellraiser in space. But Dances with Wolves or Fern Gully in space, it's not just everyone's go-to, it's said as if it's an original thought that they came up with. For a film, again, they haven't seen since 2009, which at the time they were blown away by when they saw it. But, you know, enough articles or killer memes have now told them it was bad and that no one wants a sequel. And finally, James Cameron is mean, so I therefore don't like the movie. Okay, first off, this isn't a criticism of Avatar, but let's explore this one. James Cameron is one of the more notorious angry directors. This is true. There's even a section of the Abyss special features dedicated to how irritable he can be. Heck, it was even a driving narrative going into the Oscars that year. But again, no one uses that issue when talking about his other movies. In fact, by all accounts, Avatar was where he started to calm down. And let's call it out. There are other famous directors who are famous for their tempers, and we demand folks separate the art from the artist. And through True Lies, we do. But after Titanic, suddenly Cameron is a raging lunatic that lives in a submarine and I just can't enjoy his work. And yes, its special effects are spectacular, but Cameron didn't just lean into the effects, he pioneered them. Avatar truly pushed the limit of technology and has influenced everything that came after it. But even while playing with effects, Cameron never lost his roots. Where most films using CG or motion capture use a constantly flying, impossible camera, Cameron dug in and filmed it as if he was working on an actual set and with actual cameras. Look, I'm not saying if you love Terminator or Aliens, you should just admit Avatar is good and fall in line. That's terrible. That's not a good art discussion. And I'm not saying there aren't valid criticisms to have of the man or this piece of work, but I can't help but look at Avatar, a film that truly pushed technology, that people went to see again and again and again, and wonder about the hate it gets. Basically, if Cameron had just gone from True Lies to Avatar and not made Titanic, he stuck to those action boy roots. Would the world be praising the world of Pandora? Or, after putting his typical customers on hold for a minute and making a movie for women, is he doomed to the eye-roll jail along with Robert Pattinson and Clark Gable? Look it up. So next time someone says, "This from the guy who made Avatar?" maybe stop to think, is it the Blue Cat movie that made me mad? Or was it the sexy blue lips of Leonardo DiCaprio dying in the cold, cold water? I'll never let go, Leo. I'll never let go of my rage! Mom, are you taken me to that movie so many times. Damn you, James Cameron. Damn everything you make from here on in. I swear, vengeance online.